Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. We continue reading from Srimad Bhagavatam, Canto 1, Chapter 2, Text 3. The sages put question to Sutta Goswami, and now Sutta Goswami is going to begin answering the questions. In the previous verse, he offered obeisances to Sukadev Goswami, his spiritual master, and he continues to do so in this one. Yasvanubhavam Akila Shruti Saramekam
Yaso anubhavam akhilshruti saramekam
Adhyatma Deepam Aditirashatam Tamondham
adhyatma deepam atitirtashatam tam antam
Samsarinam Karunaya Purana Goyam
sansarinam karunaya purana goyam
Samvyasa Sunam Upayami Gurum Muninam.
tam vyasa sunum upayami gurum muninam.
Would somebody like to read?
Yeah, I can read.
Please.
Translation. Let me offer my respectful obeisances unto him, Sukha, the spiritual master of all sages, the son of Vyasadeva, who out of his great compassion for those gross materialists who struggle to cross over the darkest regions of material existence, spoke this most confidential supplement to the cream of Vedic knowledge, after having personally assimilated it by experience. Purport. In this prayer, Srila Sutta Goswami practically summarizes the complete introduction of Srimad Bhagavatam. Srimad Bhagavatam is the natural supplementary commentary on the Vedanta Sutras. The Vedanta Sutras or Brahma Sutras were compiled by Vyasadeva with a view to presenting just the cream of Vedic knowledge. Srimad Bhagavatam is the natural commentary on this cream. Srila Sukadev Goswami was a thoroughly realized master on the Vedanta Sutra, and consequently, he also personally realized the commentary. Srimad Bhagavatam. And just to show his boundless mercy upon bewildered materialist men who want to cross completely over nations, he recited for the first time this confidential knowledge.
So
There is no
Sukadev Goswami, I'm sorry, So Sutta Goswami is continuing to offer obeisances to Sukadev Goswami. And he's saying Sukadev Goswami, who the son of Vyasadeva, who's coming in the line of disciplic succession. So he's an acharya, he's our spiritual master. And he spoke this confidential supplement to cream of Vedic knowledge. So Vyasadeva, he compiled all the Vedas. Then he wrote the Vedanta Sutra. That was the cream of Vedic knowledge because Vedas are so vast. He wrote them in sutra form, the cream. Then he wrote a commentary. And the natural commentary on Vedanta Sutra is the Srimad Bhagavatam. And Vyasadeva spoke this Srimad Bhagavatam to Sukadev Goswami, who realized the knowledge of this Bhagavatam, of Vedanta Sutra and of Bhagavatam. He was not just simply hearing it, but he actually realized it. And with that, he spoke it. Why? For us. For us. Whoever wants to get out of this material world.
There is no point in arguing that a materialistic man can be happy. No materialistic creature, be he the great Brahma or an insignificant ant, can be happy. Everyone tries to make a permanent plan for happiness, but everyone is baffled by the laws of material nature. Therefore, the materialistic world is called the darkest region of God's creation. Yet, the unhappy materialist can get out of it simply by desiring to get out. Unfortunately, they are so foolish that they do not want to escape. Therefore, they are compared to the camel who relishes thorny twigs because he likes the taste of the twigs mixed with blood. He does not realize that it is his own blood and that his tongue is being cut by the thorns. Similarly, to the materialist, his own blood is as sweet as honey, and although he is always harassed by his own material creations, he does not wish to escape. Such materialists are called karmis. Out of hundreds of thousands of karmis, only a few may feel tired of material engagement and desire to get out of the labyrinth. Such intelligent persons are called jnanis. The Vedanta Sutra is directed to such jnanis. But Srila Vyasadeva, being the incarnation of the Supreme Lord, could foresee the misuse of the Vedanta Sutra by unscrupulous men, and therefore he personally supplemented the Vedanta Sutra with Bhagavata Purana. It is clearly said that this Bhagavatam is the original commentary on the Brahma Sutras. Srila Vyasadeva also introduced the Bhagavatam to his own son, Srila Sukadeva Goswami, who was already at the liberated stage of transcendence. Srila Sukadeva realized it personally and then explained it. By the mercy of Srila Sukadeva, the Bhagavad Vedanta Sutra is available for all the sincere souls who want to get out of material existence.
So this material world is compared to darkest region of God's creation. The spiritual world is the bright, ever effulgent. Material world, actually, it's dark, If we didn't have the sun and the moon, we won't be able to see anything. So it's dark. And here, all of us are trying to be happy. We all make so many plans. But sometimes the plans work, and sometimes they don't. So there is suffering here in the material world. So what's the way here? Prabhupada is mentioning in the purport. How can we get out of it? Out of the material world? Yeah, desire. That's right. Thank you. By desiring to get out of it. But what has happened is we don't even realize and we just continuing to stay here. Or the desire may be there, but not too strong. But someone may have very strong desire to get out of it. So different types of people. And then people here, what we are compared to camel. Camel, why? Because camel eats the thorns. With the thorns, his tongue gets cut. And then, because his tongue gets cut, the thorns get mixed with blood. And he says, oh, so yum. He doesn't realize it's his own blood he's drinking. So here in the world, we are compared to like this camel, that we work so hard and then there is suffering. And yet we say, I'm enjoying so much. We don't realize how much we're suffering. We don't realize what's happening. Then out of so many people who are trying to enjoy the senses, one may want to get out of this world. So the jnani, he's trying to understand there is difference between the matter and spirit. So they study the Vedanta Sutra, but they may misuse or misinterpret the Vedanta Sutra. And that's the reason Srila Vyasadeva, he spoke the Bhagavatam, which is a commentary on the Vedanta Sutra. And Bhagavatam is completely just speaking about devotional service, the Supreme Lord, His glories, His name, fame, incarnations. So Sukadev, he spoke this Bhagavatam to Sukadev Goswami. Sukadev Goswami was already liberated, but he got so attracted to Bhagavatam. He became a lover of Bhagavatam and he became a teacher of Bhagavatam. He realized the Bhagavatam personally. He's realized the knowledge of the Bhagavatam. So he's a great acharya, great teacher of Bhagavatam.
Srimad Bhagavatam is the one unrivaled commentary on Vedanta Sutra. Sripad Shankaracharya intentionally did not touch it because he knew that the natural commentary would be difficult for him to surpass. He wrote his Shariraka Bhasya, and his so-called followers deprecated the Bhagavatam as some new presentation. One should not be misled by such propaganda directed against the Bhagavatam by the Mayavad school. From this introductory shloka, the beginning student should know that Srimad Bhagavatam is the only transcendental literature meant for those who are Paramhansas and completely freed from the material disease called malice. The Mayavadis are envious of the personality of Godhead, despite Sripad Shankaracharya's admission that Narayan, the personality of Godhead, is above the material creation. The envious Mayavadi cannot have access to the Bhagavatam, but those who are really anxious to get out of this material existence may take shelter of this Bhagavatam because it is uttered by the liberated Srila Sukadev Goswami. It is the transcendental torchlight by which one can see perfectly the transcendental absolute truth realized as Brahman, Paramatma, and Bhagwan.
So the commentary, natural commentary on Vedanta Sutra is Srimad Bhagavatam. Then the impersonalists, they like to study the Vedanta Sutra, but they don't accept Bhagavatam as the natural commentary. They're accepting Srimad Shankaracharya's commentary, Shariraka Bhashya, as the commentary of Vedanta Sutra. But actually Bhagavatam, that's the natural commentary of Vedanta Sutra. It's written by the same author. Srila Vyasadeva, he wrote the Vedanta Sutra. To explain the Vedanta Sutra, he wrote Srimad Bhagavatam. He spoke the Bhagavatam. So, Bhagavatam is completely transcendental, completely. There is nothing material in Bhagavatam. So it's really meant for the devotees who want to understand the absolute truths. So although Sripad Shankaracharya, he himself admitted that Narayan, he is the Supreme Personality of Godhead. And he's beyond the material creation. His followers don't accept it. They don't accept what their spiritual master is actually telling them. So and Bhagavatam is completely transcendental, and that's the reason the impersonalists, they don't comment on Bhagavatam. They'll comment on Bhagavad Gita, but they won't comment on Bhagavatam because Bhagavatam is so clear. It's clear here. It's a transcendental torchlight by which one can see perfectly the transcendental absolute truth realized as Brahman, Paramatma, and Bhagwan. Bhagavatam very clearly shows us who is Brahman, who is Paramatma, who is Bhagavan. So no one can misinterpret it. And we are all encouraged to take shelter of Bhagavatam. Lord Chaitanya, he really encouraged everyone to hear and speak from Bhagavatam. He called it the Amala Puran, the spotless Puran. Going on, 1.2.4, Narayanam Namaskritya.
Narayanam Namaskrityam
Naram Chaiva Narottamam.
Naram Cheva Narottamam
Devim Saraswatim Vyasam.
Devim Saraswatim Vyasam
Tato Jayam Udirayet.
ततो जयम् उदीरयेत्।
Translation. Before reciting this Srimad Bhagavatam, which is the very means of conquest, one should offer respectful obeisances unto the personality of Godhead, Narayan, unto Narayana Rishi, the supermost human being, unto Mother Saraswati, the goddess of learning, and unto Srila Vyasadeva, the author. Purport. All the Vedic literatures and the Puranas are meant for conquering the darkest region of material existence. The living being is in the state of forgetfulness of his relation with God due to his being overly attracted to material sense gratification from time immemorial. His struggle for existence in the material world is perpetual, and it is not possible for him to get out of it by making plans. If he at all wants to conquer this perpetual struggle for existence, he must re-establish his eternal relation with God. And one who wants to adopt such remedial measures must take shelter of literatures such as Vedas and Puranas. Foolish people say that the Puranas have no connection with the Vedas. However, the Puranas are supplementary explanation of the Vedas, intended for different types of men. All men are not equal. There are men who are conducted by the mode of goodness, others who are under the mode of passion, and others who are under the mode of ignorance. The Puranas are so divided that any class of men can take advantage of them and gradually regain their lost position and get out of the hard struggle for existence. Srila Sutta Goswami shows the way of chanting the Puranas. This may be followed by persons who aspire to be preachers of the Vedic literatures and the Puranas. Srimad Bhagavatam is the spotless Purana, and it is especially meant for them who desire to get out of the material entanglement permanently.
So here, Sutta Goswami is offering obeisances to the author, Vyasadeva, Saraswati, Mother Saraswati, goddess of learning, to Nar Narayan Rishi, and of course to the Supreme Lord himself. And Srimad Bhagavatam is the very means of conquest. By submissively hearing Bhagavatam, following Bhagavatam, one can get out of the material world. So the Puranas, they are the explanation of the Vedanta Sutra, Srila Vyasa, of the Vedas. Srila Vyasadeva, he compiled the Vedas, but how he explained them through the Puranas, because not everyone will be able to understand the language of the Vedas. Puranas are more, it's easier to understand. They're more stories. And there are 18 Puranas, 6 in the mode of goodness, 6 in the mode of passion, and 6 in the mode of ignorance for different type of people, just so that there is a gradual elevation of consciousness. Of course, the Bhagavatam is the best Purana. It's the spotless Purana, the Bhagavad Purana. And it is meant for people who want to get out of this material world. So why is this world called the darkest region of existence? Because over here, we have forgotten our relationship with God because of our forgetfulness of God. And how we can revive this relationship is by submissively hearing Bhagavatam, following Bhagavatam. If we at all want to get out of this material world, we may think, okay, I'm going to make a spaceship to get out of the material world, but that's not possible. The material world is very, very vast. Can't physically get out of it. Or one may say, I'm going to acquire some kind of a yogic siddhi to get out of it. No, even with the yogic siddhi, we'll still continue to remain in the material world. If we at all want to get out of this material world, we have to re-establish our relationship with God. And if we want to re-establish our relationship with God, we need to hear Bhagavatam, study Bhagavatam, yeah, and follow Bhagavatam. Manaya sadhu prishtoham
मुनियो साधु पृष्टो अहम्
bhavadbir lokamangalam
भवद्दिलोकमङ्गलम्
yat krita Krishna samprashno
यत्कृता कृष्ण सम्प्रश्नो
yenatma suprasidati.
येन आत्मा सुप्रसीदति.
Translation. O sages, I have been justly questioned by you. Your questions are worthy because they relate to Lord Krishna and so are of relevance to the world's welfare. Only questions of this sort are capable of completely satisfying the self. Purport. Since it has been stated herein before that in the Bhagavatam, the absolute truth is to be known, the questions of the sages of Naimisharanya are proper and just because they pertain to Krishna, who is the Supreme Personality of Godhead, the Absolute Truth. In Bhagavad Gita 15.15, the Personality of Godhead says that in all the Vedas there is nothing but the urge for searching after Him, Lord Krishna. Thus, the questions that pertain to Krishna are the sum and the substance of all the Vedic inquiries.
So, here we can see that the sages, their questions are so glorious. The whole day we ask so many questions, but what sort of questions are we asking? And who are we asking them to? Have you ever thought we ask so many questions? What am I going to eat? Where am I going to go? What am I going to wear? So many questions. But here the sages are asking questions to Sutta Goswami, and Sutta Goswami is congratulating them for asking worthy questions. Why are these questions worthy? Because they're relating to Lord Krishna. So it's beneficial for everyone, the speaker, the hearer, the inquirer, for everyone. And this kind of questions, because they relate to Krishna, they can give one complete happiness, complete satisfaction. Krishna is the Supreme Personality of Godhead, the absolute truth. In Prabhupada is pointing out that in 15.15, Krishna says, Vedesya sarver aham eva vedya. That all the Vedas are telling us to worship Krishna, to understand Krishna as the Supreme Lord. That's the purpose of the Vedas.
The whole world is full of questions and answers. The birds, beasts, and men are all busy in the matter of perpetual questions and answers. In the morning, the birds in the nest become busy with questions and answers. And in the evening, also the same birds come back and again become busy with questions and answers. The human being, unless he is fast asleep at night, is busy with questions and answers. The businessmen in the market are busy with questions and answers, and so also the lawyers in the court and the students in the schools and colleges. The legislators in the parliament are also busy with questions and answers, and the politicians and the press representatives are all busy with questions and answers. Although they go on making such questions and answers for their whole lives, they are not at all satisfied. Satisfaction of the soul can only be obtained by questions and answers on the subject of Krishna.
Yeah, it's true, no? Each of us, everywhere, we all questions, answers. But yet there's so much dissatisfaction, so much unrest. So the only way we can get satisfaction of the soul, questions and answers on Krishna Katha, engaging in Krishna Katha.
Krishna is our most intimate master, friend, father, or son, and object of conjugal love. Forgetting Krishna, we have created so many objects of questions and answers. but none of them are able to give us complete satisfaction. All things but Krishna give temporary satisfaction only. So if we are to have complete satisfaction, we must take to the questions and answers about Krishna. We cannot live for a moment without being questioned or without giving an answer. Because the Srimad Bhagavatam deals with questions and answers that are related to Krishna, we can derive the highest satisfaction only by reading and hearing this transcendental literature. One should learn the Srimad Bhagavatam and make an all-round solution to all problems pertaining to social, political, or religious matters. Srimad Bhagavatam and Krishna are the sum total of all things.
So, questions and answers. Krishna is our most intimate master, friend, father, or son, and object of conjugal love. So we have a loving relationship with Krishna, a very intimate, loving relationship with Krishna. But now what has happened? We have forgotten Krishna. And we are putting out so many different things, so many different questions and answers, but we feel there's not complete satisfaction. Sure, there is some satisfaction, but not complete satisfaction. So again, Prabhupada is saying if we are to feel this complete satisfaction, we should put questions and answers pertaining to Krishna. Srimad Bhagavatam is that. Srimad Bhagavatam, we see, we have been here reading this conversation. Parikshit Maharaj is putting questions, sages of Naimisharanya putting questions, Vidur was putting questions to Maitreya Muni. Well, they're putting questions, but to the competent authorities, sages of Naimisharanya questioning Sutta Goswami. So the inquirer, the inquired, who they inquired from, and the inquiry, all are glorious. And everyone gets glorified, whoever hears such conversations. So the questions and answers. So by hearing Bhagavatam, one can get fully satisfied. Reading and hearing this transcendental literature. Bhagavatam is not ordinary question and answer. It is transcendental because it relates to Krishna. So, text 6. Savai pumsam paro dharmo.
Savai pumsam paro dharmo.
Yato bhakti radhokshaje.
Yato bhakti radokshaje.
Ahaituki apratihata.
Ahetuki apratihata.
Yayatma suprasidati.
Yayatma suprasidati.
Anyone wants to continue reading?
I can read.
Thank you, Hare Krishna.
The supreme occupational dharma for all the humanity. Sorry.
Neha, we can't hear you.
Okay, just a second.
Oh.
Sorry. The supreme
No.
occupation dharma for all humanity is that by which men can attain to loving devotional service unto the transcendental Lord. Such devotional service must be unmotivated and uninterrupted to completely satisfy the self. Purport. In this statement, Sri Suta Goswami answers the first question of the sages of Naimisharanya. The sages asked him to summarize the whole range of revealed scriptures and present the most essential part, so that fallen people or the people in general might easily take it up. The Vedas prescribe two different types of occupation for the human beings. One is called the Pravritti Marg, or the path of sense enjoyment, and the other is called the Nivritti Marg, or the path of renunciation. The path of enjoyment is inferior. and the path of sacrifice for the supreme cause is superior. The material existence of the living being is a diseased condition of actual life. Actual life is spiritual existence or Brahma Bhuta existence, where life is eternal, blissful, and full of knowledge. Material existence is temporary, illusionary, and full of miseries. There is no happiness at all. There is just the futile attempt to get rid of the miseries, and temporary cessation of misery is falsely called happiness. Therefore, the path of progressive material enjoyment, which is temporary, miserable, and illusory, is inferior. But devotional service to the Supreme Lord, which leads one to eternal, blissful, and all cognizant life, is called the superior quality of occupation. This is sometimes polluted when mixed with the inferior quality. For example, adoption of devotional service for material gain is certainly an obstruction to the progressive path of renunciation. Renunciation or abnegation for ultimate goal is certainly a better occupation than enjoyment in the diseased condition of life. Such enjoyment only aggravates the symptoms of disease and increases its duration. Therefore, devotional service to the Lord must be pure in quality, that is, without the least desire for material enjoyment. One should therefore accept the superior quality of occupation in the form of devotional service of the Lord without any tinge of unnecessary desire, fruitive action, and philosophical speculation. This alone can lead one to perpetual solace in his service.
Samapum samparo dharmo yato bhaktir athokshaje ahaitukiya pratihata yayatma suprasidati. The supreme occupation, dharma, for all humanity is that by which men can attain to loving devotional service unto the transcendent Lord. Such devotional service must be unmotivated and uninterrupted to completely satisfy the self. We are doing so many different things to make ourselves happy. We are taking different bodies since millions and millions of births. We take one body, give it up, take up another body, all looking for this satisfaction, this happiness. But what we are doing is we are looking at it in the wrong place. We are looking for it in material things. So here, Prabhupada is saying, Sutta Goswami is answering the first question. The sages of Naimisharanya asked them that tell us, because the scriptures are so vast. So they're asking Sutta Goswami, what? Just tell us the essence, what the people should do, the essence, so that the Kalyug people or anyone can take it up easily. What's for the welfare of everyone? Because if everyone studies the Vedas, they're vast, it can take lifetimes. So he's just asking, what's the essence? Now, what is the path of sense enjoyment called in Sanskrit?
It is called Nivritti Marg.
Sense enjoyment is pravritti.
Sorry, it's pravritti. Sense enjoyment is pravritti, sorry.
Yeah, and the path of renunciation, what is it called?
Nivritti Marg.
Yeah, so one is encouraged to take up the nivritti marg. So now, why this material existence? We are thinking we are so happy, we are trying to make ourselves more and more comfortable here. Why it's being called its disease condition of life? Why is it being called disease?
Because it's temporary and there is no permanent happiness here.
Yeah,
And
that's right.
we are in the illusion here
Yes, what's the illusion?
that I'm this body.
That's right. Yeah. So that's why it's a disease. We have like an amnesia, or like forgotten who we are. So, or Alzheimer's, something like that. Forgotten who we are, don't know who we are. We are actually spirit souls. We belong in the spiritual world. Spiritual world is Satchidananda, eternal, full of bliss and full of knowledge. Compared to that, what is material existence being called? Eternal, the spiritual is eternal, blissful, and full of knowledge, and material is,
Temporary, illusionary, and full of misery.
yeah. So we can see it's just the opposite. The spiritual world is being called eternal, and material world is temporary.
Temporary.
Then spiritual world is full of knowledge, whereas material world is full of illusion. And spiritual world is blissful, whereas material world is full of miseries. You can see how it's completely opposite. So here, what we are calling happiness is that we are just trying to stop the suffering. The miseries are always there. At any given point, every living entity is subject to three types of miseries. Miseries of body and mind, miseries caused by other living entity, misery caused by material nature. Now, at every time, we are trying to get away from these miseries, and when we are able to get some temporary relief from this misery, we call it happiness. That is the real picture of this world. Now, we may say, oh, such a dark picture, such a depressing picture. It's not to depress us, it's just to make us understand the true nature of this material world, to make us understand that the real happiness is in the spiritual world. So to encourage us to take up devotional service to the Lord, tell us that, okay, you continue trying to enjoy this material world, but we have been doing it for millions of births, yet we are, still thinking, oh, if I change my position, if I have another body, if I have this, I have that, then I will be happy. So by personal experience, we can see that there is no complete satisfaction on material level. But engaging in devotional service, we are being encouraged. Engage in devotional service. And that will bring us to the spiritual world, which is Satchidananda, eternal, full of bliss, full of knowledge. And that is a superior quality of occupation, devotional service. So the material activity is inferior because it's still going to keep us in the material world. Its results are temporary. There is not that complete happiness. But devotional service is transcendental activity. So it is superior activity. It's actually the eternal activity of the soul, eternal occupation of the soul. The dharma, the swadharma of the soul. So, of course, devotional service, because we are in the modes, then our devotional service may be also influenced by the modes, That's another thing. But devotional service in itself is completely pure, completely transcendental, spiritual. Like we may be having a desire, okay, I'm going to engage in devotional service and I'm going to get this. But then that is wanting something material. So devotional service, your Prabhupada is pointing out, must be pure with the least material desire, without desiring to become God, without desiring for any of these siddhis. And that kind of devotional service is going to give one complete satisfaction, complete bliss. Because we are all searching for happiness, bliss, and there's so many seminars, courses going on. And here, Sutta Goswami is saying, study Bhagavatam. That completely satisfies the self. Engage in devotional service. That completely satisfies the self.
We have purposely denoted dharma as occupation because the root meaning of the word dharma is that which sustains one's existence. A living being sustains of existence is to coordinate his activities with his eternal relation with the Supreme Lord Krishna. Krishna is the central point of living beings, and he is all attractive, living entity or eternal form amongst all living beings or eternal forms. Each and every living being has his eternal forms in the spiritual existence, and Krishna is the eternal attraction for all of them. Krishna is the complete whole, and everything else is his part and parcel. The relation is one of the servant and the served. It is transcendental and is completely distinct from our experience in the material existence. This relation of servant and the served is the most cognizant form of intimacy, congenial form of intimacy. One can realize it as devotional service progresses. Everyone should engage himself in that transcendental loving service of the Lord, even in the present conditional state of material existence that will gradually give one the clue to actual life and please him to complete satisfaction.
So dharma, occupation, that which sustains one's existence. What is it that one keeps on doing? Like dharma of water is it's liquid. Dharma of chili is it's hot. Dharma of sugar is sweet. Dharma of salt it's salty. So dharma of the soul. Dharma of the soul is to serve God, to be in service in relation to God, devotional service. That's the eternal activity of the soul. It's the dharma of the soul. So we, the souls, we are also eternal. Krishna is also eternal. Krishna is all attractive among all the eternals. Krishna is the Supreme Lord. We are his part and parcel. We're part and parcel of Krishna. So here Prabhupada is pointing out, each and every living being has his eternal form in the spiritual existence. We may think that, oh, after I get liberated, I don't exist anymore, or I don't have a form, or, nothing. No, that is the real form, eternal form, the spiritual form that each of us has in the spiritual world. That is our true form. That is our reality. That's who we truly are. We are right now thinking we are the body, and that's the illusion. But each of us has a spiritual form. Not that some have and some don't. No, each of us in the spiritual world. And Krishna attracts each and every one of us. That's why he's called all attractive. Because there's a relationship. There's a relationship between Krishna and each and every other living entity. So what is that relation? Prabhupada is saying of servant and the served. It's not like a material servant and served relationship. It's transcendental. In the material world, the relationship servant, we are like, no, why should I be servant? I will be the master. Why should I serve anyone? Actually, we are all serving. We may think we are master. We are serving. Wife is serving husband. Husband is serving wife. Husband, wife are serving children. Children serving parents. Then the employee is serving the boss. Boss serving the company. Everyone is serving. So in the spiritual world, this is the highest relationship. It's the intimate relationship between the living entity and Krishna, living entity and God. So, Prabhupada is saying, even we are right now in this material platform, we are thinking we are the body, still we should engage in devotional service, transcendental loving service of the Lord. Gradually, we will begin to understand what is real life, what is reality, what's our spiritual position, and we will be completely satisfied. Any questions, comments?
Just confirming. So they are telling about the Jaiv Dharma of the Jeev, right? That to serve Krishna.
The
Krishna,
Sanatan Dharma.
the Sanatan Dharma.
Yeah. Is we have a relationship with Krishna, a very loving, intimate relationship, like we were reading yesterday. That Krishna, he does not very easily give pure devotional service. He gives liberation easily. But pure devotional service, he doesn't, because he gets so obliged to the devotee who's giving him service that he becomes the servant of the devotee. That he is serving, like Yudhishthir Maharaj, he's becoming a messenger boy of Yudhishthir Maharaj, he's becoming a charioteer of Arjuna. He's becoming a servant of his devotees because of this love that they give him. So it's a relationship based on love. I'm sorry.
Hare
I'm
Krishna.
sorry.
Hello.
Hare Krishna.
See, same thing is mentioned in Bhagavad Gita also. That this Parvati Marg, Nirvati Marg. One is Nirvati Marg यानी liberation. Parvati means bondage. आदमी फंसा रहता है, जो माया वगैरह चाहिए होता है ना, संसार फंसा रहता है. निवृत्ति मार्ग. और गीता में भी बोला ये वेद वगैरह मेरे से ही उत्पन्न हुए हैं. तो इधर भी वही बोला. एक्चुअली जहाँ अभी यहाँ जो भी है वो ऑलरेडी भगवद गीता में भी है ऐसा. और
हाँ.
भगवद गीता सब वेदों का, पुराणों का, सबका निचोड़ निचोड़ जाने उसमें है. भगवद जो वहाँ लिखा हुआ है भगवद गीता में है सब. तो भगवद गीता सबका राजा है ग्रंथ में. ऐसे बस भगवद गीता सबसे ज्यादा अच्छा भगवद गीता लगता है. ऐसे ही ये भी
बहुत
सही
अच्छा.
है.
आपको
और
भगवद गीता अच्छा लगता है? आप
दूसरे
read
ग्रंथ
करो.
भी जैसे दूसरे ग्रंथ भी है. जैसे सुखमणि था, बचपन में सुनता था. चेत बंदा चेत, चेत यानी भगवान का नाम लो, वही तेरे को आखिरी तक काम आएगा. बाकी संसार में फंसेगा तो फिर वापस आना जाना होगा. और संसार दुखों का घर है. खुशी तो है नहीं, लोग खुशी ढूंढते हैं. सो सुखिया जिसे नाम आधार, वही खुश होगा जो भगवान को याद करेगा, भगवान से कनेक्शन करेगा. नानक दुखिया संसार, सो सुखिया जिसे नाम आधार. नाम आधार यानी वही अपना भगवान कृष्ण को याद करते रहो. और कोई भी संसार की बात करते हैं ना, जैसे फिल्म की, वो आदमी थक जाता है. अगर भगवान की करो तो फिर मन प्रसन्न हो जाता है, इतना टायर्डनेस नहीं होता है. कोई संसार की बात बोले ना, मैंने ऐसा किया, मैंने ऐसा किया, ये किया बोले, बोर मारता है, चुप बैठना. अगर कोई बोलते भगवान भगवान की बात करता है तो फिर मन प्रसन्न होता है. और भी बहुत सारी बातें हैं, बस शॉर्ट
Thank you.
फॉर्म शेयर.
Thank you. Yeah, thank you. Thank you. शेयर किया आपने, आपका realization सही है. Thank you. So, of course, भगवद गीता, भागवतम सेम ही बोलते हैं. दोनों कृष्णा के बारे में. एक कृष्णा का शब्द है, एक कृष्णा के pastimes, नाम, नेम, फेम, फॉर्म, ग्लोरीज, pastimes. So, थैंक यू, आपने पॉइंट आउट किया कि सेम है. वही सबको बताना है कि वैदिक स्क्रिप्चर्स कॉन्ट्रडिक्शन नहीं है, सेम बोल रहे हैं कि engage devotional service. You engage in devotional service. And devotional service is hearing from Bhagavad Gita and Bhagavatam, chanting the holy name, chanting the glories. Bhagavatam में जो कृष्णा सिखा रहे हैं वो भागवतम में हम कर रहे हैं. कृष्णा बोल रहे सरेंडर टू मी, तो सरेंडर कर रहे हैं हम. तो हम कृष्णा के ग्लोरी सुन रहे हैं कि कृष्णा का पोजीशन इतना ग्रेट है, कृष्णा कैसे सृष्टि रचा रहे हैं, कृष्णा कैसे इतने इनकारनेशंस में आ रहे हैं। तो जैसे जो भागवत गीता हमें सिखा रहा है, वो श्रीमद् भागवतम हमें बता रहा है उसके बारे में डिटेल इंफॉर्मेशन। थैंक
अभी
यू,
आप
थैंक यू।
एक और पॉइंट देखो। अभी भगवान कृष्ण बोलता है मेरा भक्त बन, मुझको प्रणाम कर, मैं तेरे को तार दूंगा। और एक श्लोक में ये भी बोला, तू तत्व ज्ञानियों के पास जा, उनको दंडवत यानी डंडे की तरफ प्रणाम कर, सरलता पूर्वक प्रश्न पूछ, वो तेरे को ये आत्मज्ञान का ज्ञान बताएंगे। और आप भी इसमें बोलते हैं ना, गुरु से डिसिप्लिन सेक्शन में सुननी चाहिए। ये तो काफी चीजें सेम है। और भगवत गीता में कृष्ण ने अपना बताया कि मैं क्या क्या हूँ, सब कंट्रोल करता हूँ, सब मेरे से ही उत्पन्न होते हैं। और खैर मेरे सब सेम ही है। भगवत गीता ज्यादा पढ़ा है तो इसमें सुना है 18,000 श्लोक है भागवतम में। तो इतने हैं, 18,000 है,
हाँ,
क्योंकि
18,000।
भगवत गीता में तो 700 श्लोक है सिर्फ।
हाँ, हाँ, 700 श्लोक भगवत गीता। आप भगवत गीता के लवर है, वेरी गुड, वेरी गुड। आप कंटिन्यू कर कीजिए भगवत गीता को स्टडी करने को,
हाँ,
अप्रिशिएट करने को। वेरी गुड।
हाँ, कोई भी स्क्रिप्चर हो, एक्चुअली भगवान क्यों वो भगवत गीता क्यों, क्योंकि साक्षात भगवान के मुंह से निकली हुई वाणी है। कोई भी श्लोक
हम्म,
डायमंड की तरह है। भगवान ऐसा लगता है कि भगवान ही साथ है। और कृष्ण परम सत्य, उसका जो वचन है ना, आप डिनाई नहीं कर सकते। तो ये नहीं नहीं, ये सही नहीं लिखा, 100% सही लिखा है।
वेरी गुड, थैंक यू, वेरी गुड,
बस ऐसे।
थैंक
ओके,
यू,
हरि
थैंक
ओम।
यू। हरे कृष्णा। तो
हरे कृष्णा।
अभी हम 3 घंटे में भगवत गीता पढ़ने वाले हैं, तो आप प्लीज हमें ज्वाइन करना सेम जूम लिंक पे। हम 3 घंटे बाद भगवत गीता के पढ़ रहे हैं, 4th चैप्टर पे आए हैं अभी। तो
3 घंटे के बाद?
हाँ, 3 घंटे के बाद
अच्छा
अभी।
अच्छा अच्छा।
हाँ, तो फिर आप ज्वाइन करना, भगवत गीता हम रीड करेंगे साथ में।
अच्छा अच्छा।
थैंक
चलो
यू।
ठीक है।
श्रील
ओके, थैंक यू
या
वेरी मच। हरि ओम।
थैंक यू। हरे कृष्णा। श्रील प्रभुपाद की जय, श्रीमद् भागवतम की जय।
जय।
हरि बोल।